Views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the participants. The hosts make no claim to be literary experts, and their opinions are exactly that, opinions. All creative works discussed or reviewed are the intellectual property of the creators of said stories and is being used under the Fair Use Doctrine.
Hello and welcome to Of Swords and Soulmates, a podcast where we read, watch, and discuss romantasy stories. I'm one of your hosts, Mari, and with me I have a special guest today, Amy.
Hi.
Amy! And Ash and Jonathan. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, I'm here. It's JP. What's going on? Amy, it's been so excited. This is going to be amazing.
New friend.
New friends. Old friends. Same. Many friends.
Many friends.
New and old friends. Old and new friend. All the friends. So today we're going to be discussing the Nightmare Before Christmas movie. But first we're going to talk to Amy a little bit about why she's on. So Amy has a business called Maple Grass Design. Tell us a little bit about it.
Maple Grass Design, I make surprise bubbles. It started out, a friend of mine went on a trip and gave me this little ball. And so I'm kind of a child at heart, so I'm unraveling it, and it has all these little toys. I'm like, this is really great. I feel like we should have these for adults. And so I started making those earlier this year. I just did my first market back in October. But I make surprise bubbles for children, teens, and adults.
I like the name. Surprise bubble.
And you did like witch and like D&D themed ones earlier in the year, right?
The D&D ones are my most popular. And then I've got witches for the younger group. I've got some for adult witches. And currently I'm working on one for plant lovers and Krampus, which I'm very excited to launch that within the next few days.
Nice. Are these like different layers, like wrapped up in different layers? And as you unravel this, it reveals a surprise?
Yeah, so inside there's like a core bubble and it has like your main prizes. And then I hand cut all these layers of crepe paper. And as you unravel each layer, you find different prizes until you get to the center.
And is this sealed with like a wax stamp?
Yes, it is.
That's such a classy touch.
Thank you. Well, the surprise bubble is really fun. And I was like, adults need one, but they make so many of them. I wanted to have, quality prizes. I wanted it to be where adults could enjoy it. And now I'm in the process of trying to make my own jewelry. It comes with, some of them comes with scratch off like oracles, and some are funny and some are serious. So I'm hoping everybody has a fun interactive time when they're playing with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are some of the things that are inside of the bubble? I'm looking at some of the pictures. Is that tea? Everybody likes tea.
Yeah, so it really depends. So I've got one for bookworms. It has like a bookish pen, a bag of tea, a retro little fuzzy worm, gum, stickers. The D&D, the one that's the most popular, it's got like D&D themed pen. It's got mini dice. It's got a D20 prize, stickers, lucky amulets, oracles, paper clips, all kinds of things. It just depends on the type of bubble.
Like the theming.
Yeah.
This looks really cool.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
They're really fun to make. I've really enjoyed it.
And they're fun little gifts to give if you're like going to visit someone or like for stocking stuffers. Like I went to visit some D&D friends who are all up into D&D, and I brought them one and they enjoyed it. They enjoyed unwrapping it and having little things they could use in their game.
Yeah, I feel like if you're doing like a gift exchange, or if you're like you have a book club or like a gaming club, that you could bring this into like that random. What are they like? I don't know what they're called. Are they called like drunk Santa games or whatever they're called?
Oh yeah,
Drunk
like
Santa.
White
Yeah.
Elephant,
Dirty
or
Santa.
Dirty Santa.
Yeah.
Goes by very many names.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I wasn't too far off. Yeah,
Bring a
I'm in the ballpark.
Krampus surprise ball to a Dirty Santa game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why. Yeah, that could be cool. That could be cool. And then you bring it in. I think this would be one of those gifts that like people would fight over. Be like,
Yeah.
that's the one I want. Don't take that from me. Dibs on that.
So
I like it.
if people want to order one, and while we're talking about it, if people want to order one, it would be Maple Grass Design on Etsy?
Yes, on Etsy.
That's the best place to do it? Okay.
Yes.
So Maple Grass Design on Etsy. We'll have a link in our show notes too. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Night Before Christmas movie, but before we do, as usual, we're going to go over a little bit of news. The first news I have is there's a like vampire paranormal romance series called The Black Dagger Brotherhood, which is fairly popular. It's by J.R. Ward. I've not read it, but I've had it recommended by several people. Ash or Jonathan, have either of you guys read it or heard of it?
I don't think I've read it, but I think she might have been at Romanticycon.
Was
The
she?
name sounds really familiar.
Maybe. Ooh, I don't know. There were a lot of people there. It was very overwhelming.
So many people. I feel like we should have had like a map.
Yeah. A little like
going to the
check
theme
off
park. We
or
should have
something
had
would be
an
nice.
author map.
Yeah.
Like a coloring book or a CD.
Yeah. A little scratch off.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
cool.
like
But J.R. Ward wrote the Black Dagger Brotherhood, which is a series of popular vampire romance books written in 2014. They were optioned or whatever for a TV show. And so they've actually gotten to the stage where they're doing casting for the TV show. So a bunch of the main cast, the main actors were cast recently. I think it's going to be on Prime, and I think it's set to actually air in 2025.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, that could be fun. I'd have to read the books. I have no opinion on the books because I literally haven't read them, but a lot of people recommend them, so they're probably decent. The other thing I had was Cards Against Prythian, a Court of Thorns and Roses Cards Against Humanity game edition. Has anyone played Cards Against Humanity, or do you know what it is?
I have, yes.
Yes.
I've made many
Yeah.
people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the
It's a
game for sure.
superpower.
Yeah, so basically add stuff from ACOTAR to that. So, and not just ACOTAR, it's the whole series. There's stuff from the whole series because it's from multiple books, and some of the example cards that they had, it was stuff from several of the books, not just the first book. It's limited edition. It's $39.95 on sale now. It looks like really fun to play with people who know a little bit about the genre or have read it. But it's the same game, same type of game. Like, you know, if any listener has not played or heard of Cards Against Humanity, go look it up. It's a fun game. A get to know you kind of game with people. As long as you're playing with the right people, everyone is in the right mindset. It's a fun game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a totally good party game to play as well. And it'll make you think. So Cards Against Prythian. What's that about? What's Prythian?
Oh, you don't?
Sir.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
just playing. I'm just goofing around. How
Yeah,
funny
I
would
was
it be
like,
if I
how
pretended to
fast
not
are you
know?
reading? You didn't catch that. But anyone who hasn't read ACOTAR, Prythian is the ACOTAR land. Because Amy's sitting here with the little question mark over her head. So
Oh, she didn't know either? Ah,
no.
Cool.
And the box looks like the revamped covers of the first ACOTAR book. So it's like red with the yellow like wolf figure on it. Yeah, it's pretty. It's interesting.
I like that depiction of the wolf.
Yeah. The last thing I had in the news is that Fake Crate is doing another like opus thing that they do, and it's the last 4 books in the Dustwalker Bride series by Opal Rain. So they had done the first 4 books a while back, and then they did, for the first time ever, they've never re-released their opus series. They re-released it recently, the first 4 books. I was very excited because I got in and I got them. And so now the last 4 books, because the series is complete, are going to be coming out. Dustwalkers is, they described it as a monster romance series with a possessive cinnamon rolls, which I think is accurate,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I learned about cinnamon rolls earlier.
Yeah, we did. We learned about cinnamon rolls last episode.
Yeah.
This new, like, the last 4 of the series they're going to match the first ones if you have the first ones. It's going to be embossed hardcovers, digitally sprayed edges, signed tip-in pages. Early access is going to happen December 11th, 5 p.m. Eastern for people who bought the first 4. And then on December 12th, it's going to be any leftovers for anybody else who wants them December 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be $120 set, and it will ship in May or June of 2025.
So far.
I know.
I mean, you got to. I think a lot of times the model is like a pre-order, which I'm not against because you want to know what you're getting. I think it's good to have if you're going to do a limited, sell them out. Sell them out. That's what I say. And the only way to sell them out and to drive up the uniqueness of it is to do limited runs. That's good. Yes, I approve.
Ew.
What do you mean, ew?
What do you think, Ash?
I don't like limited runs.
Mhm.
I want to access all of the things all of the time. Because sometimes we're late to the party.
She
Right.
doesn't like going to TJ Maxx and not seeing the Stitch gingerbread jar.
I'm so mad.
She's so mad. That's the kind of stuff she's afraid of missing out on. I'm
I
like, hey, if you get in time, it's cool. It works. Awesome.
I think I'm with Ash, honestly, because I think I would love it for these to be available for people who like maybe discover the series like 2 years from now, or something. It would be nice to be able to have access to buying that special series. Like, I know why they can't, because they're limited edition, and I'm sure that, the artists and the way they print them and actually signing them, all that stuff, it's got to be limited edition just by the definition of everything that's involved in it. But it would be nice to still be able to buy a pretty edition if you happen to be like Ash said, late to the game,
Okay.
That's just my opinion, but you're right. It does drive up the cost when they're limited edition. But I don't know. I wonder about the whole driving up the cost, because it's not like the artists are getting the benefit of that. Like, the person who wrote the book isn't getting the benefit of it going on eBay for $300. The artists who designed the covers aren't getting the benefit of that. So I don't know that I care so much about it being worth more.
I was talking about this with a friend earlier today, and I'm looking around this room here, and I know that I've got some books that I have that aren't coming out until the new year. I have 5-6 copies of them on order from different places, and there's not even anything different about them. So we're talking like there's a few that I have hardcovers, autographed, special editions, the paperbacks, so it's like in my mind I'm thinking, and the audiobooks. So I have these things in different formats. I said to him, are there any other things that you like, pop culture elements that you buy the same thing over and over and over again in different formats? And he said video games. He says, yeah. I buy one for each console that I use. Sometimes I buy it for whatever Nintendo system, or then over to the PC, etc. He says, sometimes I just like to have them for different devices. And he brought up Lord of the Rings. And he says, I have it on Blu-ray, 4K, have it on DVD. I'm going to get it on this next format. It's like, I'm not going to watch them. I just have them. Right?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think the artists and the people who did it get money in each of those formats. The problem is when you have a format that's already out, let's say there's, I don't know, I have no idea, a frame of reference, but let's say there's 5,000 of these sets that are sold. If that's all that's ever sold, and like I said, 3 years from now, they're going for, $300 a set instead of $120 a set on eBay, or on, at some other used book kind of thing. Who is that benefiting?
The original buyer or the current owner. Right.
Not. So I guess it's a boon. It's like, I guess, people who collect coins or hoard gold or whatever. Like, if it's a way of maybe the person being a bookseller, book collector aspect, but not so much the original creator. So, yeah, I mean, it benefits somebody. I guess I'm just not that interested in that. Not anything against it. It's just, I guess, not something that I'm.
It's not your jam.
Yeah, it's not my jam. Like, I'm all about supporting the artists, like the writers, and the illustrators and all that kind of stuff.
How often are you selling off pieces of your book collection?
Never.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So
that's why I'm not interested in that aspect of it. I guess, like, if I have multiple copies of a book, I search out and find in all the people I know someone who I think might enjoy it, and usually end up giving it away.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, the secondary market, if there were how many of these were going to be there? Like 50, 500?
I don't know. That's why I said an arbitrary number. I have no idea.
But if there was a limited run, so let's say there was 1,000 books, 500 books, 100 books, doesn't matter. And they make that sale, that initial sale, what percentage of these would ultimately make it to the secondary market? My guess, like off the top of my head, is going to be like single digit percentage points. Like, maybe
I think
it'll be like,
I read something that what ends up happening with these super specialized books like this is they generally don't, like, it's another company that does something like this is Subterranean Press. Subterranean Press does some gorgeous, very limited edition highly stylized, beautiful books, often signed, like they did a Nettle and Bone one. And we're talking like $300 books for a book. And they're gorgeous and they're limited run. You never see those for sale on the like in the market anywhere, unless it's like an estate sale where literally someone died. So it's not like you're going to see a turnover anytime in the next few years. Like if you see these, it'll be years on down the road, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you've gone and invested on that, you're not just going to turn around and sell it for the most part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a trophy.
Yeah.
And I could live with these limited runs being limited so that I can own a limited piece. Like I'm actively looking for a title, an autographed title. I don't need to have this autographed title. I have the author's a signed edition of the author's book, but I want a matching set.
Yeah. I mean, we're all collectors in our own way, of different things. So it's all good. Any other news anybody wanted to bring up?
I don't have any news myself. Do you actually got any news?
No, I don't know what day it is anymore, you guys. Like,
tell me about it.
the days are. I don't understand how Thanksgiving's in a week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like our next 3 weekends are booked up. There's not enough minutes in the day.
Yeah.
No, I have no news. And like as soon as it hits, something else hits, and I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
All good. Okay, so going into the movie, this was a Jonathan suggestion, right? If I'm remembering.
I definitely corrupted you.
I mean, I love this movie. I definitely have always loved this movie. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was your suggestion to do it. And I know Amy jumped at that because Amy is a fellow Halloween lover.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what would make her excited. This is a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is both. It is all the things.
I should warn. Let me just put this preface out here for Amy. My intention is to be objective initially, but I'll follow it up with a subjective debate. So
buckle up.
All good. Okay, so this movie was originally released October 29th of 1993. I'm going to read a little synopsis and then we can get into talking about it. Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, is bored with doing the same thing every year for Halloween. One day he stumbles into Christmas Town and is so taken with the idea of Christmas that he tries to get the resident bats, ghouls, and goblins of Halloween Town to help him put on a Christmas instead of Halloween. But alas, they can't get it quite right.
It sucks when you have subpar labor.
Is that what it is? Not the kidnapping, etc. It was the labor issue.
Yeah, if they can't see, you know what it is? It's the keeper of the vision did not share it appropriately or take enough time. It was a hurried project. The deadlines were ramped up. Realistically, you only have 54 days to pull this off. That's, I need project timelines of at least minimum 90 days.
Mm-hmm. I was reading up how the movie came to be. Tim Burton got the idea when he was looking at a window display and they were taking down the Halloween decorations and putting up Christmas decorations. It was both up there at the same time. And then he decided to go home and write a new version of The Night Before Christmas. So there's a poem that the movie is based off of that Tim Burton wrote. There'll be a link in our notes to the poem. It's long, but I'm going to read you the first 2 or so stanzas. It was late one fall in Halloween land, and the air had quite a chill. Against the moon a skeleton sat alone upon a hill. He was tall and thin with a bat bow tie. Jack Skellington was his name. He was tired and bored in Halloween land. Everything was always the same. And it goes on. It's a long poem. It's a cool read. It basically outlines the whole movie in the poem.
This is the poem that cost Tim Burton his job at Disney?
No, actually it was artistic differences. Yeah, Tim Burton.
Weren't the artistic differences The Nightmare Before Christmas?
I don't know. I know it was he was.
They owned this. They bought the story from him, and then I think Mari's right. The artistic differences came out later, and he left without.
Oh, I was asking.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
Kelly would know. I'm not great with the trivia, but I know we watched something and it had like the history of like how Tim Burton was doing stuff and then he kind of split off on his own. It was about like that era of Disney where like they were doing the Black Cauldron and all that kind of stuff and then how it evolved into like some of the Tim Burton stuff. But I'm not great with the details. Kelly's the trivia brain. Kelly's the big brain of the household. Stuff goes in and out of my brain like a colander. So nothing stays.
But this is not a Tim Burton film.
I mean, it's sold and ticketed.
Say more
and,
words, husband.
and everything
Tim
as
Burton.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. His name is on it.
Yeah, but it's not his story. It's his story initially, but the film, he's not the director. He might have a production credit, but it had a totally different director. It's like I almost want to be
I
like,
feel like we watched the wrong thing in preparation for this. We should have watched the documentary.
instead of the movie.
Yeah.
There's some like, and so some Tim Burton films kind of get twisted around quite a bit.
Henry Selick is the director.
Yeah, he's a director. So like I had like in my mind, I keep thinking to myself, it's more his movie even than it is Tim's. Like Tim had I call him Tim. We're on a first name basis.
Besties.
Yeah. Sometimes, when we're drinking, it's Timmy. If we're out on the town, Team Money. So Tim, if you're out there listening, speak up. If you're not and you totally agree with me, say nothing. So I feel like Tim kind of passed the torch on to was Henry, the H train, and so he took this baby on.
Yeah, I mean he didn't direct it, but I feel like aesthetically and the bare bones of it wise, like the basic story, is very Tim Burton.
Yeah, he's foundationally, he planted the seed that Henry watered.
This is getting creepy.
Yeah. So what did you think overall, Jonathan? Your overall rating?
Overall rating. This is a tough film for me. As you know,
Because it's scary.
No, I'm not. It's not scary to me. I'm just not I like villains. I'm just not a super Halloween fan. And I don't know how much I'm into like claymation.
Interesting.
Yeah. But
Like all claymation or just this
100%. Like, you're not going to see me running around with like a Gumby and Pokey kind of.
Is that why you wouldn't put my Rudolph up?
I don't like it.
The truth comes out.
Yeah.
It does.
There you go. Let's get to the root cause here.
So what are you rating
It's
it?
the clay. I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
That's fairly high.
Yeah.
Most Christmas movies for me are a 5. Just so you know, like 9% of Christmas movies are a 5. This is a 4.
So because it's partially a Halloween movie.
No, it's
Knocked
the
off a
clay.
star?
The clay.
It's the clay.
Yeah.
It's the clay. Gotcha.
Okay. What do you think, Ash?
This is not my favoriteest movie, but I do appreciate movies that have 2 big holidays in it, right? Because Halloween means themes. I like a good theme.
Mhm.
Halloween's not in this one.
Shut up. It's not your turn. My turn. So I like a good theme. And I think thematically the movie is done very, very. So it's like it's a 3 for me. Like I could go without it and be perfectly fine. But if it's on, I'll watch it. And I might sing to it, but I don't know all the words.
Amy, what do you think? What would you give it as overall rating?
I would have to say, because, I rewatched it for this, and it's a lot different watching it in the 90s and then watching it now when I'm almost 50. So I would have said, if you'd asked me, years ago, I'd have said, oh, this is a 5. This is a great movie. This is a classic. But now that I rewatched it, maybe a 3.5.
I don't know any
This
of
doesn't
you
do much
people.
for me.
Like, never.
That's
What
a
I say,
twist.
like,
That is a twist. How is my rating higher than yours?
I say, like,
Mari's
never.
like, I don't know
never
who
meet
any
your
of you are
heroes. Is like that
anymore.
what it is?
Yeah. So for me, it was a 5. I have watched this movie usually at least once a year, if not more, like every year. Usually I'll have it up while I put up like Halloween decorations or take down Halloween decorations because to me it's this perfect like in between movie. So sometimes I'll watch it getting ready for Halloween stuff. Sometimes I'll watch it in November as a November movie because, let's face it, there's not a lot of November movies. And then sometimes it'll be like Christmas time when I watch it. To me, it hits this perfect sweet spot of like a cutesy Halloween and a spooky dark Christmas. And both of those are like the yin and yang of my personality. Like if it had Krampus in it, it would be like a 10. You know? Santa Claus is close. It's close, but it's not Krampus. But yeah, I love the music in it. Like, love the music in it. I listen to the music outside of the movie. I've choreographed This Is Halloween. My troupe and I danced to This Is Halloween while balancing pumpkins on our heads. So
yeah, that's a lot of talent there.
yeah, I love this movie. I love the vibes of it. I don't mind claymation. I think, to me, I find claymation really cool in that it seems like so much work. I look at claymation the way I look at like the people who do pointillism art, where it's like, oh my God, all those little dots, so much work.
Right.
So like I appreciate that aspect of it. I generally like Tim Burton stuff. I like the dark, creepy stuff. And I like the idea of all the holidays coming together. So for me, it's a 5.
I accept.
Okay. It was going to be a 5 even if you didn't. It is a strong 5 for me. Fantasy world building. What do you think, Jonathan?
I liked the fantasy, the world building. I like that it's that each Halloween, each town is dedicated to a specific holiday, and the portals that Jack stumbles on the portals. I like that everybody owns their own shit, and so I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give the world building, and especially because like it reinvents. Like I like Oogie Boogie. I like the idea of the lock, shock, and barrel. I like the idea of like all the different characters, and including the mayor. Like, who's thinking about the mayor, like a two-faced mayor? I mean, like real modern day Two-Face. It's like, I get that.
Makes so much sense now as an adult.
Yeah.
And like I can't be expected to make a decision for myself. I'm only an elected official.
Right? Yeah, so I'm gonna say like world building is high up there for me. I'll give it. I'm gonna give world building a.
Ash?
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I have to agree with all of that. Again, thematically, right? Fantasy. I think every character is unique. You're not seeing, stand-in duplicates. It's not copy and paste, right? They didn't skip corners on that at all. The songs were 100% original, and they're catchy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like thematically, like he was. You know what caught me this time? Like this most recent rewatch, the man said Kentucky, and I was like, "What does he know about Kentucky? Like, is this like a whole United States of America? Like, what version of Earth are they in that they're just Halloween, but they have Kentucky, Paris, and France in the songs?" I was so confused. I had never heard that part before. So this is like a real life situation where there are places other than just this Halloween town.
Did you think it was pretend?
Yes.
Baby, we're messing with real life here.
No, baby, it's fantasy. There are ghosts and werewolves.
Well, let me say this. Santa is a ghost to begin with.
No, that's a different topic of conversation. Hold, please. So yeah, the fantasy is a 5. Like the actual world building, their purpose, their individual personalities, the jokes and the songs. For me, like it's not my it's not my favorite movie. I'm probably not actively going to watch it, but it's enjoyable if it's on in the background.
It's on the every year watch list, though.
For whom?
For us,
no,
we watch it every year,
but accidentally.
Watched it with Savannah.
You watched it with Savannah.
I liked it.
You turned it on. I did not turn it.
It's an every year watch for me.
What do you think, Amy? In terms of world building?
Yeah, in terms of world building and fantasy, it's definitely a 5. I mean, the thought of trying to merge these two holidays and try to have them, converge. Like they're like, oh, he's trying to explain Christmas to them. They're like, oh, well, what's in the box? Like pox? Like, you just can't. So, the idea that they try to merge these things in such a beautiful but funny way, I really enjoyed.
Like their own perspective on it. Yeah. I give it a 5 for fantasy, for world building. I want to say this is the first story I remember experiencing where there was like a holiday town other than like a North Pole. Because you've got Christmas North Pole, but that there would be a Halloween land. And then also, obviously, there is like a Thanksgiving land because there was a tree with a turkey. There's a Easter land because they kidnapped the Easter bunny.
The bunny.
Yeah, like I want to know more about this world.
Expand.
Yeah. I would watch or read a story about each of these crazy lands. I absolutely would. I very much like the world building in this. So 5 for me. Surprise.
So touching on that, I don't think that Thanksgiving Land deserves a land.
Yeah, I think giving thanks is a good thing. I think American Thanksgiving is highly problematic. Like November is a great month to read stories by Indigenous peoples. I highly recommend that.
Yeah. My thoughts were not as sensitive as yours. They were like very helicopter view of like Christmas as being a global holiday, Easter as being a global holiday, Halloween a global holiday, and then Thanksgiving Western Hemisphere.
I think there's like the idea of like if you think of Thanksgiving as a harvest, like a harvest festival, that expands it a little bit more to more cultures, because I think every agrarian culture would have celebration of the harvest.
Yeah.
Could you spell that word for me?
Agrarian. Agrarian. Did I mention I was a spelling bee champion?
I did not know. I did not know that.
Did you
I
have to
did
do
not
that?
know that.
I had to.
I just had to
I won a skiing trip because I won the spelling bee for my school, and I won a skiing trip, and then I got pneumonia and couldn't go. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I got pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma. Like something happened to me, I swear, every year of my life growing up. Like I had the worst breathing problems ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It is what it is. I got to go skiing in other places, so it was fine. It was fine. I can't even remember what the last word was. I remember the last word was really hard, and I can't remember. This was a long time ago, in a land far, far away, called Kansas.
Oh, we like Kansas. We go to Kansas every year. I
Yeah.
love me some Kansas.
Is extreme.
I just got the alert that we get to go back to Kansas. I got that alert a few hours ago.
I heard Ash's groan from here.
Oh, so excited.
I couldn't find the right gift today.
We got
Let
it.
me
We booked
set that
a
out for the
2-star hotel. Hopefully those 2 stars are back.
I hope it's the same 2 stars though, because if it's different 2 stars, we're really sad.
Yeah. Romance on on the movie. What you think, Jonathan?
None. Actually, you know what? I lie. The very last scene on
There was almost hand holding
in a snowy Spanish. Talk about a slow burn. It was a 114 minute slow burn. I'm gonna give it, or what is it, an hour? But yeah, we're gonna give it 1 star.
Ash, what do you think?
One Moravian star.
Okay.
It's many points.
Yeah, all the points.
I'm gonna agree. This movie was not about romance. This movie was like spooky holiday Wizard of Oz for me. Like this was about maybe friendships and trusting yourself. This was not about. I'd say a 1.
Amy, what do you think?
Same. I would say it's 1 star because she was into him, right? But he pays no attention to her. And I mentioned to you, yesterday that rewatching this movie, if you have ADHD, you get it. It seemed like this movie was a metaphor for having this really strong ADHD hyperfocus. And so like he hyper-focused on Christmas and then he couldn't accomplish it in 2 hours after spending like
shiny.
$550. And now he's completely over it and everyone around him is super glad it's over. And so now he's like, oh, and there's you now. So that's what it felt like.
Okay.
This other hobby failed.
Yeah.
Right.
Moving
like,
on to the next hobby.
There's you. Hi. The rebound.
The face Jonathan just made.
I feel so called out.
You
think I don't know?
I thought there was romance in it. To me, it was, I would say 3.5 romance. I feel like she had feelings about him, and that's why she was trying to stop him and, save him from himself. And then towards the end, like when he saved her from Oogie Boogie, and a lot of it may be just because I love so much the scene at the end where they're on that little curly cliff overlooking the pumpkin patch, and it's simply meant to be. Like, I have a little locket that's got them on it that's simply meant to be that I've had for like over a decade. I think it took them a while to get there because they weren't in the same place at the same time on the journey. But I feel like there was a cute little romance subplot. So
She was definitely stalking him for it.
Right. Like
that's kind of what we do best when we feel like
because I was thinking about that. It's kind of romantic, but in a way, like, okay, first of all, she literally throws herself out of a multi-story building to like go bring him a snack, and she's obsessed with him. She's not using OSHA-approved gear, for all these potions and things she's trying to, perform elder abuse with. And then she sees, she picks this flower and it turns into a Christmas tree and it burns and like this is like a vision. But I really think it was a hallucination from maybe, all the other things like the traumatic brain injury.
Yeah. I agree. And Amy, that's why Ashley and I live in a ranch home now, because I didn't want to risk it. Yeah, I did get those vibes. Like I'm watching it, and when you're a kid and you're watching, you're like, "Oh, yeah, this is happening." But when you're an adult and you're looking back at it, you're like, "Yeah, that's some unhealthy behavior."
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was being kept against her will by Finkelstein, who was like, "You're mine. I created you. You're my thing.
So, yeah.
You're my Rapunzel in the tower."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got himself a new object by the end, too.
Yeah,
right?
he did. Yeah, he did. Do you know who played the voice of Finkelstein? The Dr. Finkelstein, the mad scientist?
Fantastic question. I do not.
Have you guys seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
Of course.
Have I?
Yeah.
Yes.
He can quote it to
So
you.
William Hickey, the old
Oh, you could hear
yeah,
a dump
that
truck.
makes
You
sense.
couldn't hear a dump truck driving through
Yes.
glycerin.
him. Can you hear it?
She died. Yeah.
Oh, and while we're
yeah.
talking about voices, do you know who did the voice of Jack Skellington?
No.
It was wasn't that a singer of some sort?
No, well, kind of. There's two voices. So Jack Skellington had two voices, and Sally had one. So Jack Skellington's sung parts are done by Danny Elfman. So all the singing that the Pumpkin King does is Danny Elfman, but the spoken parts, it's Chris Sarandon, who played Prince Humperdinck in The Princess Bride. Yeah, Prince Humperdinck is Jack Skellington.
Oh,
It's such a. That's so hard to picture.
Yes, it is. And then Sally her voice is done by Catherine O'Hara, who was the mom in Beetlejuice, in the original Beetlejuice. Well, I guess in both Beetlejuices.
Correct.
Yeah, and the mom in Schitt's
Catherine
Creek.
O'Hara?
Yeah, she did the voice and she sung. She did both singing and the spoken parts. And then she also did the voice of I can never remember with Stockhawk and Barrel, the witch, whichever one the witch is of Stockhawk and Barrel. Shock. Whichever one the witch is of those, she did the voice for that too.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara is like super talented.
She is.
Because don't they go lock, shock, and barrel?
Probably.
Oh, wait. Is she the...
Do you know who did the voice of
does.
Locke?
No.
Pee Wee
I feel
Herman.
so unprepared.
Paul Rubens.
Oh, yes. You're right. It almost looks like him, too.
Yeah.
You know who? I feel like Barrel is the most shit-on character of them all.
Yeah.
Nobody's running around being like, let me be more like Barrel.
So, what do we
earrings
think
I
about the
have with him are
spiciness of this situation, Jonathan?
Spice. It would like.
I mean, it's
wish there-
dark.
I wish there was spice. There's no spice.
You want claymation spice?
Well, just saying, Gumby has pokey.
Eee.
I'm gonna go with. I don't have spice. Maybe visions of gumdrops, but no spice. I can't openly give this a spice rating. That's difficult. Do I have a spice? You know what? Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna give it spice rating only because at the end I think there was the new charge nurse was maybe picking up some extra from Timbers. She was picking up some extra.
Mrs. Finkelstein.
She was picking up some extra shifts. Night shift. She was doing some night call. So we're gonna get. We'll go ahead and we'll give it a faint star.
Okay.
The
For the
visual.
suggestion. What do you think, Ash?
Yeah, no, there wasn't any spice in this. I don't even think there was spice.
Yeah.
Also, Jack's pants are really tight. There's not much to see there. Like there's no spice.
Are you kidding me? He's got a massive bone.
Massive
Yes.
boner.
I mean, is that that's what you turn this movie on? It never occurred to me to look at Jack's crotch. My mind is the one in the gut.
So, do you guys
You're
know
too
that there's
good.
like a spicy retelling of this, right? Do you guys know there's a
That
book?
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, there's a
But
book
more.
called Stitches by Violet Taylor. It was published fairly recently.
She have to
Yeah,
get
September
permission?
of this year. I read it. It's not like out of this world, but if you want a spicy, it is a spicy Night Before Christmas retelling. If that is something that is missing in your life, it does exist. Be aware.
Interesting. Dark monster romance reimagining.
Yeah.
Darkly depraved monsters.
Yes, it's the story of the Skeleton King and his stitched up queen, a dark reimagining of a Halloween favorite. Stitches is a dark monster romance reimagining. It contains graphic violence and sexually explicit content. Check the author's website for full list of content warnings. Asterisk. Yeah, it was fine. It existed. It's a thing. It exists in the world. And now we're all aware of it. Yeah. Amy, spice.
Yeah, I had the same track that Jonathan did. I'm like, there was no spice except for that little kind of hint that you get at the end with Dr. Finkelstein's like new wife. And then she has like half his brain. So I'm like, she's kind of half him. So when someone tells him to go himself,
He is. He's literally doing it.
God, that went in such a direction I didn't see it coming.
It's such a
You're
man.
welcome.
You know,
move,
that's
though,
like
to take
that
matters in your own hands.
right. That's like the whole discussion with like the Loki stuff with the variants, like Loki and Sylvie.
right,
Is he in love with themselves? Are they in love with themselves?
has that whole narcissistic thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, see the whole like identical twin thing, right? Like the whole twin concept. If Game of Thrones taught us anything,
Yeah.
I don't know why I have less of a problem with that for someone like Loki, but more of a problem for Dr. Finkelstein.
I don't understand the reference.
That's probably for the best.
Okay,
You'll think differently of me.
that's weird.
Don't marinate on it.
I'm not.
We're just gonna cruise on past.
Just
So
trying.
I for spice I wrote 0 down. I was like 0 question mark. Yeah, I agree. There's no spice to be had, which is fine. It's still a good story. Do we think it's a kissing book or kissing story?
You know, I went back and watched this over and over again to like at the
Over and over?
well, not over, like some parts I'll watch over and over again. And I was trying to figure out like because I couldn't pop this one through the calculator. I
Yeah.
felt inappropriate if I did. So I thought, how could I need to just
Hold,
go
pause.
back.
Amy, do you know what the calculator is?
No.
Tell Amy what the calculator is.
Amy, I am a freak in the sheets, the spreadsheets, and I enjoy using Excel a whole bunch. And in order for me to help me, guide me, and determine if a book that we're reading it qualifies as a kissing book. I have an algorithm established, and it's just it's based on a series of questions and qualifiers that rate it and give it a percentage and tells me like, hey, is this smut or spicy or and so most books that we read, I drop it through that filter and come out with a result. And I just couldn't do that. I don't. Part of me was like, I want this to. I don't want to put this book through the calculator because I want it to be more wholesome to me.
Yeah.
So I think I defaulted to the idea of if we remove Sally from the story, is the outcome any different? And the point of like the crux for me was when Oogie meets his demise, because Oogie's got Santa and he's got Sally strapped to the thing, he's rolling the dice and he gets snake eyes and stuff like that. But it's not really like she doesn't save the day. Jack does the old switcheroo at the last minute, pops up, and Jack doesn't really take out Oogie. Oogie's responsible for his own demise. Again, he got his burlap thread caught, right? So I'm thinking to myself, no, this is not a kissing book. There's a reward of a kiss or the concept of one at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and say this is not a kissing book. Final answer.
Ash, what do you think?
That was such an impressive answer with details and explanations and data.
There was data.
There was data.
Spreadsheets.
I feel very less than.
I apologize.
No, this was not a kissing book.
Amy?
Yeah, definitely not. The whole entire movie could have done without Sally, which I found very surprising rewatching the whole movie. She tries to stop him, initially from doing the whole Christmas thing, and it fails. So I just don't see any point of her being in the movie.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I don't think it's a kissing book. I like the romance that's in it, but I don't think it's central to the plot. I agree. Like if she didn't exist, I think it probably would have still more or less gone down the same way overall.
Yeah.
I don't think the story would have changed dramatically. Yeah, I agree.
I think if it had an element where they were together in the beginning and then this obsession strained their relationship and then the failure of this mission he had bringing them back together, that would have changed it a little bit.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting story. Write that. Anything else anybody wants to say about Night Before Christmas?
Yeah, I'll throw this last bit down here. I could definitely provide evidence of this being a Christmas movie, and it would be hard, objective evidence. However, I like to think that anything can be any type of celebration to anyone. So if you told me that you watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on October 31st and your family has done that traditionally and you qualify that as a Halloween movie, then I would wholeheartedly accept that as an answer.
I feel like you would not.
I would have to. Because
I feel like you would debate it. I don't know that you would accept it.
I would
Accept
debate it
feels extreme.
within the guidelines that are inclusive of what I'm saying. Because
right here and right now,
Yeah.
but next time, no.
Yeah, keep these in mind. Hold my feet to the fire for this one. If I were to win, if I were to present all this evidence, and there's a conclusive argument that states that this is a Christmas movie, not a Halloween movie, and I win that argument, what do I achieve? I hurt Mark. I take something from Mark.
No, personally, I don't care. My answer when people ask, is this a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie? Literally my answer, because Kelly will ask me this sometimes, is yes. That's my answer. Because it really is all of those for me.
There was one kind of little tipping part in rewatching it, because usually I would say, you could watch it to me, you can watch it any time of year because there's a moral to that. But the fact that he goes through all these, he's in Halloween Town, he's kind of tired of it, and then he goes through this trial because he wants to be something different. I want to be, that have this Christmas, and then Christmas fails, and ultimately he realizes that Halloween, he's happy about it again. He realizes that Halloween is so much better than Christmas.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the moral of this movie.
That is the moral of the movie.
This straight up just
I
feels
didn't
like
arrive at the same place. We must have been in different vehicles. Yeah, I didn't get there. I got to the whole Santa came and saved the day, made it snow on Halloween. What is this?
This just feels like the Wizard of Oz to me, right? Like she wasn't happy where she was. She wanted something different. She wanted adventure and bright
Excitement.
colors, and song.
And then there's that realization,
And then
of course, that everything you ever
fat
wanted,
white
you've
guy at
already
the end
had.
saves the day. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know the Wizard of Oz. The fat white didn't say Wizard of Oz did. I thought the
was a big
female
white
was
dude.
the.
Well, yeah. So I mean, like the Good Witch of the North says, "Oh, it was in
Good
you
Witch
the
of the
whole
North.
time."
She came down in a bubble.
Galinda,
Bubble, bro. Her sister was a witch.
are you a good witch or are you a bad witch?
I mean, again, I think it's good theming. Halloween Town's impressive.
Yeah.
I think I was more disappointed when I heard them say Kentucky today. I was like, what do you
Was it to a man in Kentucky? I'm Mr. Unlucky.
Right. I was like,
Yes.
what do you know about Kentucky? I just couldn't let it go.
That's funny.
Like, where is Halloween Town based?
You need to know.
Logistically.
Well, it's got to be in the U.S. if there's Thanksgiving, or Canada. It's in the Western.
Okay, but where?
Well, they speak English.
Do you think it's like the Midwest? Because it's like.
It's a very interesting. I don't know. Maybe we should do that. You should. Thank you for volunteering.
No,
actually.
don't give me.
She said
You
no.
decide.
But when he was like, I've also seen London and France, or Paris and France. Have you though? Like, how'd you get there? Your automobile vehicles don't seem legit.
You know what
What if it was
I
Kansas?
just realized as like maybe a little headcanon is maybe you see Halloween Town and you see each of these holiday towns through your own vision of what Halloween is for you. Like if Halloween for you celebrate it a certain way, that's what you're going to see when you go to Halloween Town. Like if you live in Australia and Christmas is like going to the beach and having a barbecue, when you go to Christmas Town, that's what you're going to see. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing North Pole because that's our culture. That's my brain
And then,
canon.
so is
your
the
head
forest
canon.
with the trees of all the holidays in the same place of each of the other lands? So like if Halloween Town's in like Kansas, is Christmas Town in Kansas? And the forest is just all like a multi-universe tree situation?
It's a timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, cross-universe
So many
quantum
questions out the
situation.
box.
Is this really the first reference of the multiverse?
It depends on how you define multiverse. I mean, like, is Lord of the Rings a reference to a multiverse where you have like the area where and I'm sorry, I'm not a Lord of the Rings super nerd, so I don't know all this. So I hear people screaming at me, telling me the right terminology. Fine, please, at me. At the end of Lord of the Rings, where like the races were dying or had chosen to die, and they were like the elves and whatnot were going off into the whatever. I feel like that was like another land, another universe, and then it was the time for the age of man in this world. I mean, maybe that's a reference to like a universe, multi-universe.
Which predates.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
It does.
The
By a
Hobbit
lot.
came out in 1938.
Yeah. I mean, I guess around the same time, because what Tolkien and C.S. Lewis used to hang out together at the pub. So you have Narnia was written around the same time. Narnia is arguably,
Oh, Narnia.
I've never seen that.
multidimensional.
Well, so it's a book.
I see the movie Narnia. Isn't it Chronicles of Narnia?
Chronicles of
It's a book.
Narnia is a good reading for this time of year. Actually, it's a good winter story. And there's probably some amazing audiobook versions of it as long as that book's been around. But like, it's a good winter tale to read, I think. So you could do that. There's your homework, Jonathan.
To watch the Chronicles of Narnia?
Read.
You will watch that by
When you
yourself.
say read, do you mean watch it on TV?
Read it with your
You
ear
can watch.
holes.
My heart hears watch it on TV.
You will watch it alone.
I'll Google it on Netflix. Is it sad?
The Bubba dies.
We can fast forward to it.
It's pretty poignant.
Oh. Boo.
Amy, anything or any of us, anything else we want to talk to Amy about? Anything else you want to bring up about your business?
No.
No? Good.
Amy, where can we find you?
You can
Did
find
you
me
say?
on Etsy. Yeah, Maple Grass Design on Etsy. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook.
Important platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's Etsy treating you?
Fees are a little high, but I'm able to find people that maybe I couldn't find before.
Have you explored any of the other marketplaces?
I checked out, there's Shopify that a friend of mine uses, but they charge by the month, and I don't feel like I've grown quite to that level. So right now the Etsy fees are less than what a monthly subscription with Shopify would be. The tough thing with Etsy is making sure that you have everything tagged appropriately, because there are, hundreds of thousands of things that may come up. So even if I search for myself, even very specifically the type of surprise ball that I'm making, I may not even show up in some of the searches. So that part of it has been kind of tough. So the in-person markets have been a lot better than the online.
Oh, nice. How many in-person markets have you been? I'm assuming locally. It's a hustle too. Like how are you finding those?
I've only done 2 of those, and both of those were here locally in Georgia. And I just from word of mouth, or I have other friends who do vending. The first one that I did was a witch's night out. Everything was very warmly received. I had to do a lot of explaining because everyone's like, what is this? Or is this a bath bomb? That was probably the most common thing. Is this a bath bomb? So I'm in the process of making like a poster that kind of explains a little bit more what this is. But once that comes across, everybody really liked it. I did very well at the Witch's Night Out, which is very encouraging.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. I'd be keen to follow along and see how this develops for you.
Yeah, do so. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
I appreciate you guys having me.
I told her we'd be nice. She was nervous. Like it's fine. It's fine.
We're fairly harmless over here.
Most of the
Yeah,
time.
most of it.
I said fairly.
All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks to listening to Of Swords and Soulmates. Before we go, make sure to check the show notes, rate and review, and subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice. It helps others to find us. Follow us on Instagram at Of Swords and Soulmates, or join our Facebook page, Of Swords and Soulmates. Check out our website, ofswordsandsoulmates.com, and we're also available on YouTube, TikTok, and Pinterest with all the same username. Check out, I have lost my place. I am so sorry. If you'd like to offer...
It's the first time it's happened.
It is. If you'd like to offer a suggestion for a future rapid fire question, reach out to us on any of those options or email us. If you want to read along with us as we prep for a new episode, you can follow us on Goodreads at Of Swords and Soulmates, or if you want to go like chapter by chapter discussions and breakdown, you can follow us on the Fable app. We have a book club on the Fable app. It's also called the Swords and Soulmates Book Club. Right now on there, we're reading Phantasma. We hope you'll join us in 2 weeks for our next episode when we read and talk about Jingle All the Sleigh by Dakota Cassidy.
That
Bye-bye.
sounds delightful.
Yeah.